a vaccination to go around, but there's a lack of those who can actually administer these vaccines to the public. So there's a lot the Japanese government must do ahead of the Olympic Games.
And up next, a budget that will bring U.S. spending to levels not seen since World War II. More on President Joe Biden's $6 trillion spending plan next.
ちゃんは山梨名物のほうとう食べたいものぶれていません。
俺全部いつも奥かな。
こうやってなるんだ。
いい話。
はいはい。
Japan Hour tonight on CNA. Japan Hour is brought to you by Sumitomo Corporation and SMBC. Every day, the financial world goes through dramatic rise and falls. We'll track the biggest market movers and show you where the opportunities lie. Get the experts' take on the performance of key indices. Plus all the analysis to help you understand forces driving global economies. The daily business news you need. Only on CNA. This segment is brought to you by Xeon Corporation.
Tonight, could rising inflation derail the post-pandemic economic recovery?
Those parts of the market that are more overvalued could easily get hit.
Relooking China's growth model as its population ages.
Chinese babies are not growing into industrial workers in the future.
Plus, how to be a part of the blockchain boom. Tonight on CNA.
U.S. President Joe Biden has proposed a $6 trillion budget for 2022, combining his existing infrastructure, education, and social welfare plans into one huge package aimed at transforming the economy. It would take government spending to its highest level since World War II. Jagruti Dave reports from Washington.
Joe Biden's first budget of his presidency seeks to build upon measures he's already introduced in his $2.3 trillion American Jobs Plan and $1.9 trillion American Families Plan. Trillions of dollars are earmarked towards measures such as pandemic preparedness, combating climate change, and investing in research and development. Annual government spending is expected to rise to $8.2 trillion by the end of 2031. Biden's administration says the staggering injection of funds is necessary to allow the United States to compete with other countries, most notably China. It requests a 10% increase in the State Department's budget compared to last year, which a State Department spokesperson said would allow the United States to engage China in the Indo-Pacific and globally from a position of collective strength. Now, the White House predicts that economic growth would fall to 2% or less from 2022 to the end of the decade if the president's proposals are not approved. Now, it plans to pay for the budget by increasing taxes on top earners and on corporations, effectively boosting the middle classes at the expense of the rich. But Republicans are pushing back against the cost of all of this, having already raised debt and inflationary concerns regarding Joe Biden's existing jobs and families proposals. And they're also resisting what they see as unnecessary government overreach, with trillions of dollars going towards social policies such as tackling inequality and expanding health coverage.
And for more on this, Claudia Siam joins me now from Washington, D.C., and she's a senior fellow at the Jain Family Institute. Claudia, welcome to the program. First of all, a $6 trillion package, the highest, likely to be the highest government spending since World War II. And this is after the $5 trillion COVID-19 relief package. What are your thoughts on this latest budget? Is it necessary?
It's necessary. It is a bold step, right? This $6 trillion, even in a $21 trillion US economy, that is a big investment. And when we think about the budget proposal, this is not so much about fighting COVID, getting us to that finish line. It's about getting us to a better place than February. And if you believe, and I do, that there was a lot of inequality, there were a lot of groups, racial ethnic minorities, less educated workers that were marginalized from the US labor market, that weren't able to have their full potential. That's who this budget is trying to support. And in particular, there's a lot of investments in children. So to move the needle to create long run growth, reduce inequality, this takes a lot of money and a lot of good programs.
Now, but Claudia, with this budget, the U.S. is likely to run a deficit of nearly $2 trillion. I mean, certainly this is not reflecting well on the Biden administration. And already the Republicans have said that the budget is going to destroy the economy.
Well, this is an extremely hot debate right now. And I think when we think back to after the Great Recession, after the financial crisis, these concerns about the government doing too much, particularly as the recovery went on, they won the day, right? And fiscal spending actually fell back after the Great Recession. And this is the Democrats believing that they have a lesson to learn and not to stop, to keep spending. And the idea here, the economics of it is there's not some magic level, debt so big to GDP. We got to be able to finance, we got to be able to pay the interest payments. But we have an opportunity, especially in the United States, to borrow the money and spend it on the country. And it's swinging for the fences for a more prosperous, more productive U.S. economy. It is risky, but people are worth taking a risk on.
Now, an official...
So there's disagreement on this, right?
Right, Claudia. Well, an official has said that the 10% budget increase will also allow the U.S. to engage China in the Indo-Pacific region. How much of these proposed initiatives will boost America's efforts to confront China, especially in trade policies?
I think one of the places where domestically policymakers have been held to account is that as trade has happened, and China is just part of, I mean, they're a big part, but they're a part of a more global, integrated economy, world economy. And the problem is in the United States, as time went on, there were workers left behind. So people that worked in production and manufacturing, and that caused a lot of pain and suffering, frankly, among those individuals. And so there's an idea, and I mean, this is a very direct pushback to that we have to invest in our own people, in American workers and businesses that will make us more productive and prosperous. That benefits the entire world economy. And it's a rebalancing to some extent. I mean, I think, really in the economics, it's about getting America firing on all cylinders. And that one piece of that is how the U.S. economy fits within, and thinking about equity, too, in terms of everyone, corporations paying their fair share, countries playing by the rules. This fits together in that idea of we're going to get to a better place than before COVID.
Now, on the topic of climate change, we're seeing over $36 billion to fight this issue, an increase of more than $14 billion as compared with 2021 under Donald Trump's budget. How crucial is this investment for Mr. Biden to help in his climate goals? Now, given that the U.S. is not yet halfway to meeting the goal of slashing emissions in half by 2030.
Right. So President Biden, from the campaign onward, has made very clear that fighting climate change is one of his priorities. And you see this, I mean, this is in the infrastructure investment proposals, say in the jobs plan that show up also again in the budget. It is how they talk about workers and investing in green energy. I mean, it really shows up in many different aspects of the plans Biden